I want to straighten something out here. And what I want to straighten out is the coordinators that they have hired to do a job have not exactly done the job. And so my thoughts are, whose fault is this now? It's easy to see there, all right, Sirianni's the CEO. He overlooks everything. If he doesn't like what they're doing, it's up to him to change the whole thing. But look at the way their offense has performed under a coordinator who was supposed to, I don't know, add some pizzazz to this Eagle offense. We talked about pre-motion snap, about pre-motion, pre-snap motion.
There you go.
Yeah, pre-snap motion. And we thought that Kellen Moore was going to add that, a la 49ers, right? They aren't doing it. Their pre-snap motion is amongst the worst in the league. They also have not scored in the first quarter. So I don't want to blur the lines here, but what are the coordinators doing right now for this football team? Is it fair to say, maybe we ought to look a little closer at the guys that the organization handpicked to change things, to take some things away from Sirianni? And what are they doing? The defensive coordinator's gotten torched a number of times already this year. The offensive coordinator's not utilizing pre-snap motion, and they don't score in the first quarter. They get off the terrible starts all the time. It doesn't look like they have any idea how to get the ball down the field early against the team. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it is frustrating with the way the offense has started. I mean, it's kind of hard to not have any points in the first quarter through 4 games, especially when they're scripted. I mean, Kellen Moore is scripting those plays, and you're evaluating the opposing team. I mean, especially they had all summer to prepare for Green Bay. They had extended time to prepare for the Falcons. How do you not have plays scripted to put up points in the first quarter? Now, to your point about the pre-snap motion, that has been a staple of the Kellen Moore offense. And what I saw all over Twitter last night was, this means Nick Sirianni's putting his hand in the pot. That's not what it means. Okay, I have always been accused now of being Sirianni's defender. Sirianni has problems. He should be held accountable. But every time something goes wrong, we can't just blame Nick Sirianni. Is it possible, Mike, that Kellen Moore is not running a lot of pre-snap motion because Jalen Hurts isn't comfortable with it? Is that a possibility? Is it always Nick Sirianni's fault, or could there be some other reason why they're not running pre-snap motion? So, yes, I'm with you. Kellen Moore has to do a better job. Vic Fangio has to do a better job. But I keep going back to the personnel. I mean, at a certain point, the personnel has to step up and play. Offensively, Jalen's got to stop turning the ball over. Defensively, Vic Fangio, I know he's supposed to be this great defensive coordinator, but he doesn't have a lot to work with, Mike.
Listen, I get all that. I'm just trying to figure out where the problem lies here. Now, we can go into the Sirianni cabinet right now with this. They've been penalized 4 times for illegal downfield passes, 3 times for illegal formation, once for breaking a huddle with 12 men on the field. They've committed defensive pass interference twice on 3rd down. 3rd down defensive holding, 3rd down roughing the passer. This all indicate, and to say nothing of the special team bonehead plays they made against Tampa Bay with Isaiah Rodgers, that tells me they're not a well-coached overall football team. But if you go deeper inside that, you go, what are these coordinators? These coordinators were supposed to improve this situation. What have they done so far? Am I jumping the gun on both of them? You have personnel in front of you. You went through a training camp. This is the personnel you have. You're supposed to be able to work with personnel. That's why you've been hired. You have a field of expertise that is supposed to turn players into a good system player.
Yeah, so you want to see Vic Fangio build his system around the players that he has.
Yes.
Not force the players to fit his system.
Yes.
I just don't know. They're both to blame. I think the personnel and the coordinator are to blame. I just don't know who's more to blame. Because you look at that defense right now. Really, if we go through all 11 starters, Is there anybody that you feel great about?
No, but see, Bill, here's the thing. I get it. But you're supposed to make chicken salad out of chicken scrap.
I hear you. Especially when you're Vic Fangio.
Exactly. You're Vic Fangio. So when you look at your personnel, you go, okay, the NFL's all about utilizing your strengths and trying to avoid your weaknesses. That's what the expertise in coaching is supposed to be all about. And they don't do it on defense nor offense. I get it that they were missing their 2 wide receivers. That's very costly. I get it. I can't take that away. They're missing Lane John. I can't. But if Kellen Moore is so slick, okay, since we don't have these guys, let's do this.
Against the Bucs, Kellen Moore dropped the ball. And I know that people are going to cite to the fact that there's no points in the first quarter. We talked about that through 4 games. But really, outside of the Bucs game, the offense hasn't looked bad. I mean, they're still a top 7 offense in terms of yards. The issue has been the turnovers. Now, against the Bucs, I didn't like the game plan. You don't have A.J. Brown, you don't have Devontae Smith, you don't have Lane Johnson, and they come out throwing the football, not relying on Saquon Barkley early like they should have. So I'll give you that. But through the first 3 games before the Bucs, I don't think Kellen Moore did a bad job. I mean, I thought that he designed some plays to get the playmakers open in space. You saw a lot of yards after catch, something that's lacked last season under Brian Johnson and Nick Sirianni. So I don't think Kellen Moore has done as bad of a job as Vic Fangio.
Bill, they didn't gain a yard in their first 3 drives last week.
And I think,
are you kidding me?
And I said I don't like the game plan. But I also don't think it would be fair to not say, okay, they didn't have A.J., they didn't have Devontae, and they didn't have Lane. So I almost am willing to forgive Kellen Moore for what happened against the Bucs. I'm not saying that we should fully excuse it, but I'm almost willing to move on from it. For Kellen Moore. Yes. How often did they have the ball?
They had 2 tight end sets the whole time. Did they get the ball appreciably to the tight ends?
They ran, I believe, 6 plays in the first quarter because the Bucs just drove right down the field. See, I put more of it on the defense.
What? So they only ran 6 plays. Whose fault is that? It's the offensive coordinator and the offense, isn't it?
I agree with you that Kellen Moore didn't look great in the game plan.
How did you not gain a yard in your first 3 possessions?
I'm with you, but look, even still, they're top 7. Even not gaining a yard against the Bucs through almost 2 quarters of football, they're still the top 7 offense in terms of yardage. The offense has not been as bad as the defense. Where the offense has struggled has been turnovers. The turnovers are killing this team on offense. The defense sits at 29th. So I think if we're comparing the coordinators, I think Vic Fangio has done a lot worse of a job than Kellen Moore. I'm a lot easier to forgive Kellen Moore for the Bucs performance than I am Vic Fangio. What is this,
a less rotten piece of fruit is tastier than the more rotten one?
Unfortunately,
is that the game we're playing here
That
today?
may be where we are right now, Mike. That may be where we are. But just look at the defense, man. 29th in yards, 23rd in points against, 29th in yards per carry allowed, 26th in pressure rate, 29th in sacks, 31st in takeaways. I mean, the defense has really struggled through 4 games. The offense really struggled against the Bucs, but it hasn't been all bad. I think the defense has been pretty much all bad outside of the red zone the first couple games.
All right. Listen, my frame of reference is last week, and it was an embarrassment what they were doing offensively. And it can't be only because they were missing their 2 top wideouts and Lane Johnson. It can't be. You got to figure out a way to do something else.
Yeah, the game plan was horrible. I agree with you. Kellen Moore's game plan was horrible.
That's what I'm saying. It's all about preparation. It's all, okay, well, my game plan's got to be X because that team over there is Y. I don't understand where the planning comes in. What are they doing during the week?
No, it's hard to argue with, Mike. It's hard to argue that you could come out against the Bucs and have that bad of a game plan on both sides of the football.
All right. We're going to be talking about this consistently because we got a lot of time to talk about it before they play their next game. And you know, they're 2-2, and they look like a shot team. Like, we see with Slay and C.J. Gardner-Johnson and all this nonsense that's going on that does not indicate any solidarity at all with this team. There's a disconnect between the head coach and the quarterback. It's like, what's going on? It's 4 games into a season. We're looking at it like it's a season of doom.
We have our moments.
Oh, that's a drop now? We have our moments.
We have our moments. All right, and also this is General Knowledge Wednesday. It's you against Ray. We have a $100 Nebraska gift card. We'll give you the topics coming up. But I gotta throw this out there, and I've been very positive about the Phillies. There are certain teams that you look at right now, the way they're playing baseball, and I'm going to admit that I'm a little nervous about if they have to play the Mets. The Mets, I don't know what happened. The Mets aren't Metsing anymore. They've become this relentless team, this transformation that they've had.
They haven't been Metsing for a while, Mike. They started the season.
That's what I mean. Now I'm like, I didn't even give that a thought that the Mets could beat the Phillies.
Started the season 24-35, and since they're 65-38.
God, can you imagine if you lost the first series to the Mets?